because Dodgy told me this is the best trader, most prop firm payouts or something like this. So he goes over the beginning of this, starting off is talking about liquidity. I think when people start to use the word liquidity, they should be using it correctly, especially if they are teaching people and taking money. He's talking about these two people. Buyers and sellers do not provide the majority of the liquidity into futures markets. Dealers and market makers do. That's a very well established fact. And when dealers provide a lot of liquidity, you have a tight spread. You don't get as much slippage. And when things are looking a little risky, they pull their inventory. They do not want to provide liquidity to reduce their inventory risk. And that's when you get those very thin spreads. You get very wide spreads and you get a lot of slippage. So I think it is very important to know who is actually providing the majority of the liquidity is dealers. So then I believe he comes into here and he talks about these orders. So a buy stop loss order is a market order that is inactive, right? When you set a stop loss, it is a resting inactive order. It does not get wired to the exchange like a limit order does, which is why when the spread is thin, sometimes there's a lot of slippage with stop losses because it is a market order. He says you cannot put a buy market or buy limit above. I don't know what he says, but he says something like that. And there is another order called buy market if touched. That is an order that you can use to play candle breaks. So you can set and it's basically a stop loss pretty much. And it triggers and it goes up. So those are market orders. Market orders do not only execute at this price, the current price. Stop losses and sell stop losses are both market orders.
So those are just the types of orders. Now, you guys might need to pause this video and double check this and rewind it as I go through the examples, but this is the pending liquidity in the marketplace. All right, so as the market trades lower, it's going to trigger sell stops or buy limits. All right, and we will get.
So since, again, to reiterate, stop losses are market orders that are pending and they do not get wired to the exchange in advance. They are not limit orders, so they will not show up on the book. They are market orders that are inactive, and once price crosses that level, it sends a market order to the exchange as a stop loss. They are not wired, they are not the same as limit orders. The only thing that shows up on the order book is limit orders. Stop losses do not show up on the order book because they are pending inactive market orders that just trigger market order if it touches a price. That's how stop losses work.
It's above the market. Okay. Now let's fast forward in price and just observe what happens. All right. Now that the sell stops have been triggered, let's just assume that Gordon Gekko has a smart money.
Again, stop losses are market orders and buy stops are also market orders. These are both market orders. And again, you can see right here that a quick Google search, they could have found out that a stop order is placed above the current market price and it is converted to a market order if and when the price is reached. So these are not limit orders. They are market orders. That is a big thing to mess up.
He's going to have his buy order paired with a sell order. All right, because in order for you to be a buyer, there needs to be a seller. You cannot buy if there's no seller. All right, so maybe.
Again, I'm going to reiterate that the majority of the liquidity in futures is typically provided by dealers and market makers. So yes, you are not technically he's not wrong, but a lot of the times the liquidity is being provided by a market maker or a dealer rather than like one party selling and one party buying. There is a broker intermediary that provides that liquidity. So this guy could be buying, but it could be from a broker inventory rather than from a random seller. Just to clarify, I think that's a very important thing to know when you're trading futures.
Use liquidity. First of all, understanding liquidity is so important because it just provides actual context behind why the markets move the way they do and respect certain levels. Why these levels are being rated.
Again, to reiterate, if you're going to make the first 12 minutes of this video about liquidity and not mention that the majority of the liquidity is provided by dealers and market makers, I think that that is a big concept to miss when you are teaching stuff to people. And I assume that you have a course. Let's see. Does this guy, how much?
Just when I thought my trading couldn't get any better.
How much is this course? Well, $1 million in payouts. I will trade with you live and teach you my strategies. Click here to apply. What the fuck? Let's see. I below. Fucking questions. Oh my god. So it is unconfirmed how much this costs. Let's get back to the video. Anyways, I'm actually gonna, maybe I'll stop there because traditional indicators are lagging. It adds a psychological edge. I can't even listen to this anymore. How to trade with liquidity. I see. So if your strategy is based off of liquidity and you're not going over dealer inventory, that is a red flag to me. I'm just not sure about this video, you guys. So I think that's gonna wrap up my review of this ICT liquidity explained in 22 minutes. Thanks for watching.